What's up, everybody? It's Mike Pendleton here with the On the Mic podcast. What's up, everybody? It's Mike Pendleton here with the On the Mic podcast, sports talk. All right, so we missed week 7. It's on me. UFC 280 kind of took over. We missed week 7 of the NFL and picks. I didn't even write picks down or anything. So we're going to go at it for week 8. Week 8 starts tonight, Thursday, with a little Thursday night football action. And not too much to really discuss on the outside of football, right? Like no major storylines. I mean, storylines now that we're at are who's where. I know we have the trade deadline coming up. The Bears just traded Robert Quinn to the Eagles for a 4th round pick. I mean, what could you have gotten for him if you traded him this offseason after, his record-setting season with the Bears last year? Kadarius Toney gets traded to the Chiefs, Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers. I mean, it just seems like there's so many opportunities for the Bears to go find a wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, traded to the Cardinals. Go find somebody. Go find a guy who's young, has a few years left on his contract, has kind of fallen out of, position on their own team, and bring him in. What does it hurt? I mean, listen, Bears, huge win over the New England Patriots. First time ever in Foxborough, by the way. And I don't know what they do with it. I'm not expecting the Bears to be world beaters because they beat the New England Patriots. What I am expecting is I'm expecting them to continue to bolster a team that can get better each week, right? Please put a product on the field that continuously gets better each and every week. Now, Byron Pringle will be activated off the IR. He'll be able to come back very soon. Great. But Byron Pringle's not leading you to a title or a division appearance or a playoff appearance, excuse me. But the Chicago Bears are the number 1 rushing team in the league. They have young players on defense. Roquan Smith is emotionally upset after the trade. Credited Robert Quinn for his leadership, veteranship, kind of mentoring Roquan Smith. That's great, but Roquan's got to step up. This defense has looked good. Jaquan Brisker. Listen, guys, if Jaquan Brisker continues to play the way he plays, I will not hate the Khalil Mack trade. I don't hate it already because of Jaquan Brisker, and we're in week 8. It just made sense. He's the guy they got because of that trade. I'd do it 100 times again. So I'm going to keep this, kind of straightforward to the point. Here we go. It is NFL Week 8 odds with the spreads. Not brought to you by. I get these lines from thelines.com. Thelines.com has everything. All the lines for NFL games with each sports book. So no matter what your favorite sports book is, I don't have a sports book sponsor, but if I did, this is where they'd be getting shout out. So hint to all these sports books out there. Somebody wants to get in on this, on the mic action, I'm right here. Baltimore and Tampa Bay. Baltimore +2, which means Tampa Bay obviously -2. Now, here's one thing I will say about the NFL right now. Yes, the trade deadline is almost here. Yes, it seems like there's only 3 good teams: the Eagles, the Bills, and the Chiefs. Those are the 3 kind of top teams in the league, and nobody else. The Ravens 4-3, the Buccaneers 3-4. Eventually, so here's what it is, right? The Falcons and Buccaneers are tied for first place. Buccaneers coming off an embarrassing loss to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It was an embarrassing loss to the Carolina Panthers. And the Ravens, coming off a big win over the Browns, they just lost to the Giants. So, people say, oh, the Giants real, the Jets real. We don't know yet. But they're going to go through a stretch now, the Baltimore Ravens, where they play the Bucs, the Saints, And who knows, like these Panthers. But, two NFC South matchups back to back. The Saints, listen, there's no team where you're like, man, they're going up against those, except those three I mentioned. There's no team where you're like, man, they're going to run into a buzzsaw. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. But I do believe in Tom Brady. And I do believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are more talented than they have shown so far. And I do believe Tom Brady will get the job done. In short, I like the Buccaneers -2. I just think they have the better team. It's pretty much Lamar Jackson and everybody else. I'm not even sure if Rashad Bateman is playing in this game. If he's not, J.K. Dobbins is out. He's he's got another knee injury. So Gus Edwards looked good last week, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This Ravens team is weird. They find ways to get games won and all of that, but I like the Buccaneers. I mean, you're talking Bucks at home. Usually that's a -3, so they think it's going to be a close game. I don't believe so. I like the Buccaneers -2, and I think that's a pretty easy bet. Sunday morning football across the pond, Denver and Jacksonville. Jacksonville currently listed at -2.5. I like it. Now, I did take the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the New York Giants, which they almost did last week. But also, big trade of James Robinson to the Jets after the Jets lost Breece Hall to a torn ACL. Russell Wilson questionable for this game. I want to see now what the Jaguars, because now the Jaguars, listen, Trevor Lawrence got to stop turning over the football. However, the Jaguars seem to be a completely different team on paper this year. The Broncos have lost 4 straight, so you would almost want to be like, this is the week they get it done. I don't believe so. I think Jacksonville's obviously used to playing in London, and I think even if Russell Wilson were to play, I would still take Jacksonville -2.5. The Atlanta Falcons and Carolina Panthers. Panthers coming off a huge upset win over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, as previously mentioned. I don't think it matters. I don't want to dog the guy, but I think the Buccaneers beat themselves worse than the Panthers beat the Bucs last week. And the Falcons have been amazing against the spread. They're currently at a -4. I like Drake London against this Carolina Panthers secondary. I know they got some really talented players back there, but I believe J.C. Horn will be out. Don't quote. Let me just check. Let me fact check that. I know he missed earlier this week. Oh, I'm sorry. I know he missed a game earlier this season. And he would be a guy I would say would be locked up on Drake London, but I don't know, something about the way the Atlanta Falcons play. They had that huge upset win over the 49ers. Massive upset win. I like the Falcons -4 at home. The Chicago Bears and Dallas Cowboys. I am not going to make this pick based off being a homer. I'm going to make this pick because I think it's right. +9.5 for the Chicago Bears is crazy. What they just did, going into New England, getting their first ever win in Foxborough, the way they did it, controlling the clock, running the ball down your throat, and making plays on defense, that is every team's ingredient and prayer in the NFL. And the Bears did that. Now, the narrative was, oh, wow, Bill Belichick is being very courteous to the Chicago Bears leading up to it, and it doesn't matter if it's Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. They're going to run through Chicago. Yeah, surprise. +9.5. That's crazy to me. Dallas likely, not official, but likely will not have Ezekiel Elliott. Dak Prescott. I mean, they didn't look hot out of the gate against Detroit. Yeah, I know they won, but +9.5. The Bears have a better team on paper than the Detroit Lions. Remember, I just said that. Yeah, I like the Bears plus 9.5 all day long. All day long. Tony Pollard, keep that contained, and CeeDee Lamb. That's the Bears' defensive scheme and game plan. That's what it should be, at least. And then on offense, you've got to stay away from Micah Parsons. The only thing that would change this spread, or in my opinion, ruin this pick, is Micah Parsons just absolutely balling out. Like when Myles Garrett balled out against Justin Fields. But that was Matt Nagy being competent as a head coach. Listen, the designed runs for Justin Fields last week, they worked. They absolutely worked. So I 100%, I would just, not being a homer, I will go as far to say that is my lock of the week, the Chicago Bears plus 9.5. Now, upset pick. Now remember, we're going spreads. We're not going picks. We're going spreads, meaning straight picks. Detroit Lions plus 3.5 or the Miami Dolphins. That team that went scoreless in the second half against the lowly Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the Detroit Lions have had like one of the best offenses, but one of the worst defenses in the league. Plus 3.5. Tua is still kind of coming back, getting his wits about him. By the way, I thought that was crazy that he even played. Eventually, Dan Campbell and his squad have got to get it right. And I don't know if it's going to be this game, but I expect this to be a closer game than most are. I like the Lions plus 3.5. I can already tell you that pick will come back and bite me in the you-know-what. Now, another one that I feel very, very confident on. The Arizona Cardinals plus 3.5 against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. Give me the Cardinals plus 3.5. We saw what they did, and they're coming off a week of a lot of rest, I believe, as are the Vikings. But DeAndre Hopkins is a difference maker. And guess what? With one win, the Arizona Cardinals are right back in playoff contention. I think both teams coming off a longer week of rest. It might be the game of the week. What is produced. It might be the best game that we see on Sunday. I like the Cardinals plus 3.5. And actually, I wouldn't hate you if you like the Cardinals straight money line or straight to win. If you don't gamble and you just want to pick, if you're just looking for a game to pick, like the Cardinals there. It will depend on James Conner, but I think the Cardinals have enough depth at running back and Kyler Murray to get the job done. If their defense plays like it did against New Orleans, which is saying a lot, Andy Dalton, Kirk Cousins, but give me Arizona plus 3.5. The Raiders and the Saints, very much a pick'em game, -1 for the Raiders who are on the road. And I like the Raiders in this one. Not too much to dive into there. We saw what happened against the Cardinals for the New Orleans Saints. I think this is a team that, with so much uncertainty at the quarterback position, I think it's gonna be a rough year. I think maybe Jameis comes back and plays. Maybe we see Jameis in this game, but the Raiders on the road. Somehow the Raiders are benefiting off the Broncos being as bad as they are to kind of hang around. They're not completely hanging around, but Josh Jacobs just had an amazing game. I like the Raiders in that game, and I'm not sure it's close. The New England Patriots starting Mac Jones going into East Rutherford, New Jersey to face the New York Jets. Yep, every time I say that, it sounds as weird as I just said. I like the Jets. Listen, the Jets, they're plus 2.5. So, very, very close game. Mac Jones is back under center. Will Bill Belichick kind of do the switch out that he did against the Bears and bring in Bailey Zapp if Mac isn't playing well? When you have quarterback limbo, you always go with the other team, in my opinion. So I like the Jets plus 2.5 to get the job done. I actually do like the Jets to win that game as well. Pittsburgh and Philly. I think Philly wins this game, but minus a 10.5 at Caesar Sportsbook. They're -11. That's a tough bet to lay That is a very tough bet to lay. I would say stay away from this game, but I do think Philly gets it done. Could they win by 2 touchdowns? Yeah, they could. They could. It's the NFL, though. It's the NFL. Those games that are supposed to be cakewalks, Buccaneers, Panthers, sometimes they surprise you. If you're feeling risky, who knows? Who knows? Maybe you throw something on that plus 10.5. But I would stay away from that game. And then we move forward to the 3 o'clock slate of games, 4 o'clock on the East Coast. We've got the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Titans minus 2.5. Listen, that AFC South is really, in my opinion, once again, going to come down to the Titans and I believe the Jaguars. Matt Ryan out for the year for the Indianapolis Colts. I think it's Sam Ellinger will replace him. I know the Jaguars are 2-5. I know it looks like they may not be able to turn it around in time. But with that being said, if you're not beating the Titans, I don't know what you can do in this division. And the lowly Houston Texans preparing for a huge 2023 draft, I think the Titans handle them. And, there's been some injury news, like with Ryan Tannehill. I don't think he's questionable to miss this game. But even if it was a Malik Willis game, I would ask you guys if that would hurt. Tannehill did not practice on Wednesday. This being recorded, obviously, on Thursday. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think Tennessee goes in and handles them pretty well. I mean, if you're not stopping Derrick Henry, and I don't think Houston has anybody that can stop Derrick Henry, I think this is a big Derrick Henry game. That's my prediction for this game. Another upset on the books. The Washington Commanders taking on the already mentioned Sam Ellinger-led Indianapolis Colts. Taylor Heineke in at quarterback after Carson Wentz had surgery. I like the Commander. I mean, they got a great defense. They've got weapons on offense. Brian Robinson has added an extra layer to this team. The Commanders just beat the Packers. Plus 2.5. Give me the Commanders all day long against the Colts. And I don't know necessarily if you want to look at this game as what is Sam Ellinger going to show us in his first start. For me, it would be what will become the Colts' identity. And I think it belongs with Mr. Jonathan Taylor, one of, if not the best running back in the entire NFL when healthy, which has been a problem for him this year. The San Francisco 49ers, led by Jimmy Garoppolo, their new toy, Christian McCaffrey, taking on the Los Angeles Rams. It is the game of the week, in my opinion. Sorry, Sunday night. Jimmy has had outstanding success in the regular season. I believe now 9-1 or 10-1 against the Rams in the regular season. I think it continues. The 49ers outbid the Rams. Some say the Rams kind of played a game with the Niners. I don't think it mattered. Obviously, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Christian McCaffrey is a 49er, and that is huge. This game has high implications for the future of this division in 2022. The winner will likely move into, if not a tie for first, they will be right around the corner. So I believe the 49ers, led by Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo, the arrival of Christian McCaffrey is the best thing to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo in his entire career. Deebo Samuel's electric. I take nothing away from him. There have been several good running backs in San Francisco, but none, when healthy, compare to Christian McCaffrey. And that goes without saying. Minus 1.5, F that. I would take the Niners -3, -4, -6. I don't even think this game is close. And San Francisco's getting healthy. If Christian McCaffrey just starts flowing with this offense, I'm not going to go extreme and tell you my Super Bowl pick, but it may be coming out of the NFC West, and it won't be the defending champions. And who would have thunk it at 425? It is a big game. The East Coast to the West Coast to Seattle. The first place, Seattle Seahawks taking on the 6-1 New York Giants. Every week, you're like, that's not real. My Giants are Daniel Jones. The Giants aren't real. Then they do what they do. They keep teams on the ropes, and eventually they deliver a knockout punch, whether it be on offense, whether it be on defense. Their only loss is by 7 points to the Dallas Cowboys. Just beat the Jaguars, Ravens, Packers, Bears. They're handling their business. Now, they did trade Kadarius Toney, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. He's barely been out there. Wan'Dale Robinson looks electric for this team. Now, they are without their tight end, rookie tight end, Daniel Bellinger. I still don't know if it matters. This is a game of two teams that you're like, no effing way. This is the no effing way game for me this week. No effing way these two teams are highlighted on a Sunday. They are. And the Giants are +3. Seattle at home. Give me the Giants +3. I don't want to hear it. I can't doubt them anymore. I simply cannot doubt the New York Giants. Brian Daboll, listen, if I know anything about being a football guy, especially coming out of Chicago, culture and coaching matters. And the New York Giants have that. Daniel Jones doesn't need to be Tom Brady. Daniel Jones doesn't need to be the next coming of freaking Drew Brees. He doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be Aaron Rodgers. Saquon Barkley doesn't need to be Walter Payton. This team just needs to click on all cylinders, and they've been doing that. And the one thing is, I'll say for every Seattle Seahawks game, Kenneth Walker, if you go back, I mentioned him previously, I believe the week 6, because again, apologies, week 7 I missed. Won't happen again. Yeah, that dude's the truth. That dude is the truth. Breaking a little news here to my friends who may watch this. Just landed Kenneth Walker in a trade in one of my money leagues. Got a couple subscribers. Please also do that on this video. Subscribe to my channel for more sports talk on one side, MMA talk on the other. Kenneth Walker's the real deal, and I might be working on another trade in another league with two of my closest friends. Yeah, I'm excited. Fantasy football. Week 8 is usually the time where I'm like, I got to make a trade. Green Bay and Buffalo. First time ever Aaron Rodgers, I believe this is the stat, is a double-digit underdog. And I say it's warranted. Now, he made some comments this week. Guys who aren't making plays should have their playing time reduced. Does that go for you, Aaron? Because you're not making plays either. Now, listen, Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. But the Buffalo Bills, even though the Philadelphia Eagles still exist, the Buffalo Bills look like the best team in all of football. And I think that continues on. -11, very, very tricky here. I've got to make a pick. So for the sake of not embarrassing myself, I'm going to take the Packers +11. The Bills win this game. But -11 is tough. Give me the Packers +11. And Monday night, -3.5, Cincinnati Bengals on the road. Jacoby Brissett and the Cleveland Browns. Kareem Hunt also brought up in some trade discussions, trade rumors. I like the Bengals. I think what Joe Burrow did was absolutely disgusting last week. Talking about his play, there was nothing inappropriate that he did. Joe Burrow looks like the guy that led the Bengals to the Super Bowl last year. I mean, Joe Burrow, have a day against the Falcons, right? Just listen to this, man. 34 of 42, 481 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Joe Mixon scored. Jamar Chase scored twice. Tyler Boyd had 8 catches for 155 yards. By the way, for fantasy purposes, can we unlock T. Higgins, please? 5 catches, 93 yards, no touchdowns. That's not a terrible stat line, but dude is one of the best young players in the league. Like, listen, if the Bengals aren't gonna unleash T. Higgins on the NFL, damn it, Ryan Poles, pick up the phone. Now, again, I don't think T. Higgins is going anywhere, but it's just I can dream. I'm sad. I'm sad. I got nothing to cheer for on the wide receiver side in Chicago. Darnell Mooney's decent. Would be a wide receiver 2 on most teams. Been waiting 8 weeks for that breakout game. Been waiting 7 weeks. Been waiting for that first touchdown. Been waiting for that huge Darnell Mooney, Justin Fields connection. And it just doesn't happen. So, yeah, I like me some T. Higgins. I love me some T. Higgins. I love me some Joe Burrow. I love me some Jamar Chase. And I love me some Cincinnati Bengals. Houday -3.5 on the road against Cleveland. And if you're a Cleveland Browns fan at this point, 2-5, if the Bengals do win, which I just picked them to, they'll be 2-6. At this point, you just figure out who's there for the second half of the season and beyond, right? Because we're in week 8. Week 11 is when they will have their, week 13, I believe, is when Deshaun Watson will return. So in December. And double check that. Because he can't practice until November 14th. He will be able to return week 13. So yeah, I listen, that's 4 or 5 weeks of Deshaun Watson, but he gave the Houston Texans a high pick. I don't know what you were expecting. Yeah, I think for this year it's Browns figuring out who's here to stay moving forward. Cincinnati -3.5. I think that's all day long. Those are my week 8 picks in the NFL. The World Series starts later this week. The NBA is in full effect. LeBron James 0-4 for the first time since his NBA rookie season back in 2003, 2004. So many comments and questions about Russell Westbrook. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that the New York Knicks are 3-1, baby. That's a hopeless basketball fan getting excited over a 3-1 team. 78 games left to go, Mike. They will break your heart. They will. That's just what they do. I'm used to it. I root for blue and orange. The Bears and the Knicks. They just break me. They just break me every time. Every single time. So there were my picks. If I can recap them, if I remember off the top of the dome, Cincinnati -3.5. Green Bay +11. The Giants +3. The Niners -1.5. If you want an alternate spread, I would say go higher on that, -3, -4. The Washington Commanders +2.5. The Titans -2.5. The Eagles -10.5, because there's no way I could take 2 double-digit spreads this week. I just can't do it. The Jets +2.5. The Raiders -1. The Cardinals +3.5. The Lions upset +3.5. They got to get a win. And then the Chicago Bears, bear down, baby, +9.5. That's my lock of the week. The Bears +9.5 against them Cowboys. And then the Falcons -4, the Jaguars -2.5. Nathaniel Hackett may be out of a job in his first year as Broncos head coach. I'm not reporting it. That's just what the Twitter spheres, that's what the Twitters are saying. That's the rumor around town. He could be fighting for his job here, and I think he may lose it. And Thursday Night Football, get off Tom Brady's back. You wish you had his career. You wish you had his money. You wish you had his life. But all things must come to an end. And if there's only one person in this world who goes undefeated, it's not Floyd Mayweather boxing fans. It's one man and one man only. His name is Father Time. The Buccaneers may not win the Super Bowl, but Tom Brady and the Buccaneers should and are my pick to win Thursday Night Football. That is your Week 8 pick. Stay tuned. I will probably have another episode of On the Mic Sports Talk coming this week. Jake Paul, Anderson Silva this week. We'll see what I can muster up in the NBA. We got a big week. We got UFC. We got Bellator. We got basketball. We are in a stretch, I believe now, of 27 straight days of college football and NFL straight. Give it to me. Give it to me. The fall is the best time of the year for this reason and this reason only. Forget about your pumpkin spice lattes. I enjoy them. Forget about holidays with the family. I enjoy it. But it's all about football. It's all about sports. It's all about NBA. It's all about betting. There should be a betting show, but it's not. I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money to risk your guys' money. Not like my job-wise. I don't win enough money in betting to risk your money. I'm doing you a favor. But take my picks. I don't know how that works. Week 8 of the NFL is here. It starts on Thursday Night Football with the Ravens and Buccaneers. I am Mike Pendleton at MP2310 on Twitter. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more. I got a Bellator interview coming out either today or tomorrow as well. Stay tuned for that. Some thoughts on Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, as well as UFC 280 thoughts aftermath, right? I hate that because so many people have that. But it's pretty much what it is. In conclusion, UFC 280. That will be coming to you this week as well. So follow me on Twitter at MP2310. Those are my picks for week 8. Enjoy football. We've got